Hello, everyone. According to the lead pastor of Gateway International Church, my own father, Pastor George Zuma, said, when a man grows his leadership capacity, the high places of life will make room for him. And to back up that thing he said, Jack Welch, who was one time chairman of CEO of General Electric, he said, before you are a leader, success was all about growing yourself. But when you become a leader, success is about growing others. I'd like you to know that every Tuesday here on Life Center Network, we handle what we call Leader Upgrade from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. And I'm your anchor man. If you miss it for anything, your leadership ratings will be in doubt.
Life Center Network TV, your gateway to possibility. Thanks for watching.
Hello, everyone. According to the lead pastor of Gateway International Church, my own father, Pastor George Zuma, said, when a man grows his leadership capacity, the high places of life will make room for him. And to back up that thing he said, Jack Welch, who was one time chairman of CEO of General Electric, he said, before you are a leader, success was all about growing yourself. But when you become a leader, success is about growing others. I'd like you to know that every Tuesday here on Life Center Network, we handle what we call Leader Upgrade from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. And I'm your anchor man. If you miss it for anything, your leadership ratings will be in doubt. I'd like you to know, the more you watch this, apply the things you like, your leadership rating will go high. Don't forget that it happens on Life Center Network, 2 p.m. every Tuesday, on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. Listen, don't touch that dial. Keep watching Life Center Network TV.
Follow us on YouTube, Facebook at Life Center Network TV. Keep watching Life Center Network TV, your gateway to possibility. Thanks for watching.
Hello, everyone. According to the lead pastor of Gateway International Church, my own father, Pastor George Zuma, said, when a man grows his leadership capacity, the high places of life will make room for him. And to back up that thing he said, Jack Welch, who was one time chairman of CEO of General Electric, he said, before you are a leader, success was all about growing yourself. But when you become a leader, success is about growing others. I'd like you to know that every Tuesday here on Life Center Network, we handle what we call Leader Upgrade from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. And I'm your anchor man. If you miss it for anything, your leadership ratings will be in doubt. I'd like you to know, the more you watch this, apply the things you like, your leadership rating will go high. Don't forget, this is about growing others. I'd like you to know that every Tuesday, everyone, according to the lead pastor of Gateway, keep watching Life Center Network TV.
Follow us on YouTube, Facebook at Life Center Network.
Apply the things you like, your leadership rating will go high. Don't forget that it happens
called permission.
Watching Life Center Network.
Follow us on YouTube, Facebook at Life Center Network TV. Keep watching Life Center Network TV, your gateway to possibility. Thanks for watching.
Unpack values for leaders. Don't forget, I said if you take your oxygen, you're a leader. You don't need a guide to be a leader. First one is position.
Hello, everyone.
The lowest level of
according to the lead pastor of Gateway International Church,
it is based on your right. That takes us to the next level of leadership, which is called permission. People follow you because they want to. It is based on relationship. But even at that level, you are not still a leader. The third level is called production. People follow you because of what you have done for the organization, and it is based on results. Well, in the top level school of leadership, they said until you get to level 4, you are not yet a leader. And what is level 4? People development. That people follow you because of what you have done for them, and it is based on reproduction. You have been able to reproduce yourself in so many places. I'm sitting down here because somebody has reproduced me. His name is Pastor George Zuma. And there are several leaders he has reproduced. But then he is not at the level of people development, he's at the level of called pinnacle, which is the 5th level of leadership. People follow you because of who you are and what you represent, and it is based on respect. These are people who have raised organizations and built organizations and raised leaders who have become patriarchs in leadership school. So that's not what I'm delving into today. What I want to unpack today is called limitless capacity. Instead of thinking of how can I get there, be talking about how far you can go. How far you can go in leadership. We have 7 mountains of influence that we talk about. There is the mountain of religion. There is the mountain of family. There's the mountain of media. There's the mountain of arts and entertainment. There's the mountain of politics. There's the mountain of education. And there's the mountain of business. I'd like you to know that in any of this mountain that you thrive, you are a leader. Don't forget, nobody becomes a specialist by being a generalist. Let me say that again, because that resonates with me. Nobody becomes a specialist by being a general. They ask you to, they say, well, I'm in politics. They ask you, they say, well, I'm in media and entertainment. They ask you, well, I'm in religion. You are a scattered graph on group data. So once you find your place in leadership, then your leadership ratings begin to count. So today I'm looking at limitless capacity. Don't forget, this happens every Tuesday, 2 p.m. on Life Center Network, on YouTube, on Facebook, and all that. So, focusing on how far you can go. I'm going to do a character study and on a Bible character. 1 Samuel chapter 3. 1 Samuel chapter 3, 1 to 4, verse 7, and then 19 to 21. I'm going to do a character study on a young man called Samuel. I'm going to read a few Bible passages, and then I will delve into, share a few things, and then I begin to unpack how limitless capacity is possible and the rest of that. But in this discourse, number 1, you understand what is limitless capacity. Number 2, what environment, how do you know you are growing your capacity? How do you know your mindset is on growth? And then I tell you what to do, and we'll begin calling it a close. So 1 Samuel chapter 3, 1 to 4. I'll be reading it from Good News Translation. 1 Samuel chapter 3, 1 to 4, it said. And then I'll jump to verse 7. It said, in those days, when the boy Samuel was serving the Lord under the direction of Eli, there were very few messages from the Lord, and visions from him were quite rare. One night, Eli, who was now almost blind, was sleeping in his own room. Samuel was sleeping in the sanctuary where the sacred covenant box was, what you call the Ark of Covenant. Before dawn, while the lamp was still burning, the Lord called Samuel again. The boy did not know that it was the Lord, because the Lord had never spoken to him before. So he got up, went to Eli and said, you called me, and here I am. But Eli answered, my son, I didn't call you. Go back to bed. As Samuel grew up, I've jumped now to verse 19. As Samuel grew up, the Lord was with him and made him come through everything that Samuel said. So all the people of Israel from one end of the country to the other knew that Samuel was indeed a prophet of the Lord. The Lord continued to reveal himself at Shiloh, where he had prepared to Samuel and had spoken to him. And when Samuel spoke, all Israel listened. Look at a young man who was brought to the house of God, who was serving a prophet, who was serving Eli the priest. And then the first time he had an encounter, God called him. He ran to Eli because he hadn't heard the voice of the Lord before. If you read King James, he say, now Samuel had not yet known the Lord, neither had the word of the Lord been revealed to him. So Samuel is oblivious. This guy wants to traffic in the supernatural, in the mystery, but he does not understand the mystery, the voice of God. Doesn't know the voice of God from the voice of his pastor Eli. And then it happened twice. Eli found out that God was calling this young man, and then God spoke to him. This guy woke up that morning. He was so afraid to share the message. Imagine you, a small boy in church, and God gives the previous day, about this time tomorrow, I will send a man from the land of Benjamin, anoint him to be the leader of my people, Israel. He will rescue them from the Philistines, for I have looked down on my people in mercy and have heard their cry. Look at this guy. From the boy who didn't know the voice of God from the voice of his pastor, to a boy now whom God started revealing himself to a boy now who God will speak to in his ears before the event happens. See, I was reading something today and I said that prophecy is news before the news. He said, there is a young man that I'll be sending to you. He'll be here with you by 9 a.m. He said, what am I going to do with him? He said, that's the guy you are going to anoint as king over Israel. Wow. With exactitude. Now, look at the growth of, I'm talking about limitless capacity. Look at the growth of Samuel. The boy who couldn't draw a line between the voice of the Lord and the voice of his pastor, to a man now who is not encountering the Lord. See, life is defined by numerous encounters that you have. That's what my lead pastor said. Your life is not defined by one encounter, but there is one encounter that introduces you to incessant encounters. I don't want to delve into different levels of God, of knowing God. There is intervention, divine intervention, where God shows up for you. That is God for you. And then there's something called revelation. That is God with you. But as big and as powerful as intervention and revelations are, they can't be compared to the third one, which is called habitation. Now God is not living inside of you. You become a mobile house of God. Oh, I wish I could. Well, I came to talk about limitless capacity. I'm so engrossed in scriptures. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'll soon I'll start unpacking the things. But if you understand what I'm sharing, boy Samuel now has become the prophet Samuel. Now has become a national voice. And the Bible said in that 1 Samuel chapter 3 verse 21, it said everything God said to Samuel came to pass. So Samuel spake with exactitude. Samuel spake, oh my God. This guy was growing. In 1 Samuel chapter 9 that I told him 15 to 16, God told him, there's a young man that's coming to meet you. That's the person you're going to anoint king over Israel. In chapter 10, oh Jesus. When Saul appeared, he called Saul and said, stay here. The Lord has anointed the captain over his people. So he knew this was the guy. He poured oil on him. He was still growing. In 1 Samuel chapter 16, I'm just looking at the life of Samuel. God now asked him, I have replaced Saul, but I have chosen another king. He's in the house of Jesse. Take your oil, go there. This guy, even though he was growing, see, that you are growing does not mean you will not make mistakes along the way, but don't allow the mistake define you. This guy who is growing in his walk with God arrived at the house of Jesse. Jesse, please, can you bring all your sons? And Jesse brought all his sons, his bona fide children, bona fide sons. Let me say bona fide. And did not bring David, because Bible history tells us that David's mother was not married in a legitimate way. So, and when they are not counting sons, David shouldn't be counted. But you see, what people count out, that's what God counts in. What people count out, Samuel almost poured it on him, and God said, I have not chosen this one. Don't forget, this guy is growing in his knowledge of God. So this guy was almost deceived by physical appearance, and God said to him, he said, I don't look the way man looks. Now that one passed. Abinadab have appeared, big guy, 8 packs, not 6 packs, 8 packs has appeared, man. Samuel said, I can't miss this guy. He wanted to pour oil, and God said, neither have I considered this one. He said, man looketh at the outward appearance, but I look on the inside. God, am I in the wrong house? Then suddenly his intuition said to him, ask this man. He says, Jesse, are these all your sons? Jesse said, these are all my sons. What are you talking about? There is one that is in the bush. He's not part of us. He's analog. He's not digital. He doesn't wear Gen Z trouser. He doesn't wear ripped jean. He wears all this 1950 something. So we kept him there, let him take care of the sheep. And Samuel said, we will not sit down till he comes. This guy is growing in his capacity, in his inner capacity. As soon as David came and he heard God say, this is the guy, anoint him. Why did I take you through this journey? Every man has limitless capacity, but you are the one to develop, to deploy those capacities. Every human being has limitless capacity. There is no limit to what you can do. You see, I love what John Bunyan said. Before I start unpacking this thing, I love what John Bunyan said, the man that wrote Pilgrim's Progress. He said, your life is a gift from God, but what to do with your life is your gift back to God. Let me say that again, because this resonates with me. Your life is a gift from God, but what you do with your gift, your life, is your gift back to God. So many of us now, God is weeping, like he said, I regret making Saul king over Israel. May heaven never regret bringing you to planet Earth. And I love, again, before I move into this, what is in the slide. I have slides, don't worry, just relax. Just be in a hurry to begin to see slides. I love what Wilson Woodruff said. He said, you are here to enrich the world. You will impoverish yourself if you forget errand. You are here to enrich, impoverish yourself if you forget the errand. We are not here to show how talented we are. We are not here to show how we are eloquent speakers or have oratory of words. You are here to enrich the world with the gift God gave to you. That you will impoverish yourself, not even the world, if you forget the errand. So let's look into the limitless capacity. The first thing I want you to know, the question is never if you have what it takes. The question is if you will do what it will take. The question is never if you have what it takes. The question is if you will do what it takes. My lead pastor, who has become my own virus, he said, no man gives life an amateur attention and expects to have a professional result. No man. If you give politics an amateur attention, don't expect to have a professional result. If you give your business an amateur attention, don't expect to have a professional result. If you give ministry an amateur attention, don't expect to have a professional result. If you give media an amateur attention, don't expect to have a professional result. If you give arts and entertainment an amateur attention, don't expect to have a professional result. If you give education an amateur attention, don't expect to have a professional result. Whatever thing you do, if you don't give life a professional, or if you don't give life all it demands, you will never get all it offers. That's what I'm talking about. If you don't give life all it demands, love will never give you all it offers. So that's what we're talking about. The question is never if you have what it takes. The question is, will you do what it takes? Now that brings me to a few thoughts I want to look at on growth. A few thoughts on growth. Number one, it is your responsibility to explore how far you can go. That's the first thing. It is your responsibility to explore how far you can go. Not your employer, not your mentor, not your coach. You see, I jocularly say that Judas and Peter had the same mentor, but they ended all apart. So it is your responsibility to explore how far you can go. It is your responsibility to explore how far you can go. I told the story of a young man. Anyway, a young man whose name is Jesse Owens or Jesse James. That in 1923 he met his coach and said to his coach, "I want to be a star in track and field event." in 1923. And the coach said, are you sure you want to be Jesse James? At times they write it Jesse Owens, but the same thing, it's a black guy. A black guy. And he said, are you sure you want to be a star in track and field event? The guy said, I want to be a star. I said, okay, sit down, let me tell you. There are 4 things. 4 things on the ladder. What? How many things? 4 things. Number 1, determination. Number 2, dedication. Number 3, discipline. And number 4, sacrifice. What? Number 1, dedication. Number 2, determination. Number 3, discipline. And number 4, sacrifice. Is that all? Say yes. And the guy took off. 13 years later, that's Berlin Olympic 1936. Jesse James won 4 gold medals. When it was difficult for a nation to win, when our country just returned, my country Nigeria just returned from Olympics. They were not there. In fact, I heard they were even borrowing bicycle from Germany. What a shame. But one young man, after listening to his coach, he took off. I am sure his coach didn't just address only him, but he was the one that told himself, it is my responsibility to explore how far I can go. I think I've given so much value. So let me read for you what the CEO of Daewoo Corporation said. His name is Kun Won Chong. This man worked for 30 years without taking a vacation. You know what he said? He said, if a worker makes sacrifice, he can become a section chief. And if a section chief makes sacrifices, he will become a manager. And if a manager makes sacrifices, he can become a president. It is your responsibility to explore how far you can go. It's not what you studied in school, oh. It is your responsibility. That's the first thought I've given. Second thought, growth capacity is about stretching yourself to learn something new. Growth capacity is about stretching yourself to learn something new. When was the last time you learned something new? When was the last time? When was the first time you tried something new? When was the last time you learned something new? And when was the first time you tried something new? Growth capacity is about stretching yourself to learn something new. What new thing are you learning? Or you are the one that believes that it has been from the beginning, what would that end? And they will say amen. I will not say amen with you. I was listening to Stephen Covey, the man that wrote, after writing the 7 Habits of Highly Successful, he now wrote the one, 8 Habits. The 8 Habits. That was so many years ago. He said that every skill goes obsolete after 2 years. That was so many years ago. So I don't know how many, maybe by now, every skill goes obsolete after 2 days. Because as at the time he said that thing, they have not brought out this theory that a skill has 10 times more value than a university education certificate. That if you have a skill, it has 10 times more value than university degree. So growth capacity is about stretching yourself to learn something new. I know you must have heard about the story of a man they call Nick Vujicic from Australia, who has no arm, no limb, nothing. He doesn't look like a human being. In fact, to make matter worse, his parents are pastors. I will listen to an interview that he granted. He was asking his parents why he was born the way he was born. The parents said they don't know. But do you know this guy is a motivational speaker? This guy is motivating full-fledged human being. Last time John Maxwell invited, it was John Maxwell or TD Jakes. He was on the top of a table to tell you how he looks like. You can even carry him with your palm. Kept him on the table, Nick Vujicic. I was motivating full-fledged human beings. Why? It is about stretching yourself to learn something. This guy plays table tennis. This guy drives a car. This guy rides a boat. There's nothing he doesn't do. But his physical ability should be his disabilities. But he turned them around and said, Whether I have this or not, I can learn something new. I can stretch myself to learn something new. Let me read for you what Orison Sweet Martin said, the founder of Success Magazine. He said, the world does not demand that you be a lawyer to be a minister. The world does not demand that you be a doctor or a farmer, a scientist or a merchant. It does not dictate what you should do, but it does require that you be a master in whatever you undertake. That's what Orison Sweet Martin said. The world does not demand that you be a lawyer, a minister, a doctor, a farmer, a scientist, or a merchant. It does not dictate what you should do, but it does require that you be a master in whatever you undertake. They don't care. The world is not the one telling what who you should be, but make sure that whatever you are doing, become a master in it. I've shared with you the story of the 10,000 hour practice. Malcolm Gladwell talked about it in his book Outliers in chapter 2, where he said, whatever you do for 10,000 hours, you become a master in it. So many months ago, I was listening to John Mark and said, I practiced leadership for 12,000 hours, so I'm a leadership guru. That is 20 hours in 50 weeks. 52 weeks, as the case might be. But growth capacity is about learning something. Stretch yourself to learn something new. Stretch yourself to learn something new. At times when we're employing pastors, you ask them, apart from preaching, what else can you do? You say, I pray, I speak in tongues. I say, can you review a book? Can you preview a book? What is how active are you on social media? There's one young man that came and said he wants to do a campus ministry. I said, can I see your social media? And he said, no, social media is a distraction. I said, sorry, sir. You are called, but you're not called to work with us. How do you reach the young people? Say social media is a distraction. There is nothing that has advantage that doesn't have disadvantages. But let's explore the advantages. That brings me to point number 3. And it sounds like a question. Where will you be in 1 year from now? Where will you be in 1 year from now? Now listening to me now. Where will you be in 1 year from now? What growth, what changes will happen in your life? What transformation will take place? Where will you be 1 year from now? Such that after 1 year, I wouldn't meet you, and the same thing you complain about, you're still complaining about it. The difference between the wealthy and the poor is that the poor, their problems are bigger than them, whereas the rich, they are bigger than their problem. So that's what I'm talking about, limitless capacity. Limitless capacity. Where will you be in 1 year from now? You're listening to me, you're watching, you're taking notes. I'm asking you a question. What's your projection? You see, there are people who wake up every day, they don't have a plan for that day. Not to talk about having a plan for the week. So if you can't plan your day, of course you can't plan your week. If you can't plan your week, you can't plan your month. If you can't plan your month, forget about planning your life. Because life is a miniature of days. Life is a miniature of days. Life is a miniature of days. If you don't have what to do on daily basis, that's your daily routine. What to do on monthly basis, what to do quarterly, what to do yearly. How do you want to grow that life? Where will you be 1 year from now? I'm not talking about 5 years. 5 years might be too much. One young lady went to propose to one young man went to propose to a young lady, and the young lady asked him a question. He said, can I see your 5-year plan? You know what the young man said? The caterpillar is on the journey. And the lady said, wait until you become a butterfly. Wait until you become a butterfly. He went to propose to a young lady, and the young lady said, can I just see your 5-year plan? He said, no, the caterpillar is on the journey. You know, he wants to quote our papa, but he wants to quote it back to context. The caterpillar is on the journey. The young lady said, well, wait until you become a butterfly. If the caterpillar must be on the journey, the caterpillar must know the journey is taking. If you don't have any plan, if things don't go according to, things cannot go according to, if they want to be an issue. The things didn't go according to plan. Well, actually, did you have any plan? He said no. So how would things go according? There was no plan in the first place. Let me read for you what Charles Kettering. He is best known as the founder of Delco and inventor of the electric starter for cars. It was a major step in increasing automobile sales to the general public. He said, "My interest is in the future because I am going to spend the rest of my life there." Charles Kettering. Charles Kettering is spelled Kettering. He was the one that founded. He's the founder of Delco. He was the one that invented the electric starter for cars. He said, "My interest is in the future because I am going to spend the rest of my life there." So, what's your plan for tomorrow? What's your plan for the next month? You can be complaining about the economy. You see, you don't need a new government. You don't need a new president. You don't need the economy. You only need to be a new person. If you change, everything about you will change. Life will change. Jim Rohn said he met his coach, Shoff, and Shoff asked him just a simple question: where are your written goals? He said, "What am I doing with written?" At the age of 19, I got married and I worked for 6 years. Yet I'm behind my bills. I can't pay my bills. So he said, "Can I see your list of goals?" And Jim Rohn said to this man he met, he said, "I don't have a list of goals." You know what the man said to him? "I can guess your account balance." So Jim Rohn asked, "You mean if I have my written goals, my account balance will change?" He said, "Of course." So some of you listening to me now, do you have written goals? He said, No, I know what I want to achieve. So we'll get back to you. Please get back to you after this short break. Thank you.
Before you are a leader, success was all about growing yourself. But when you become a leader, success is about growing others. I'd like you to know that every Tuesday here on Life Center Network, we handle what we call Leader Upgrade from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. I'm your anchor man. If you miss it for anything, your leadership ratings will be in doubt. I'd like you to know, the more you watch this, apply the things you like, your leadership rating will go high. Don't forget that it happens on Life Center Network, 2 p.m. every Tuesday, on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. Listen, don't touch that dial. Keep
Welcome back. We're talking about limitless capacity, and I was talking about the third point, and where will you be in 1 year from now? Don't let your fear get in your way of a future that is limitless. Don't let fear get in your way of a future that is limitless. Let me say that again. Don't let fear get in your way of a future that is limitless. And I just told you what Charles Kettering said. My interest is in the future because I am going to spend the rest of my life there. What plans do you have for the future? What plans do you have for the future? Well, I'm just thinking about it. Don't think about it. Act it. So Jim Rohn, I was telling the story what his coach said to him, Shoff. Shoff said to him, "Where are the list of your written goals?" He said, "I don't have." He said, "I can guess your account balance." He said, "Mr. Shaw, you mean if I have the list of written goals, my account balance will change?" Of course it will change. So don't wish it was easier. Wish you were wiser. Don't ever wish it was easier. Just wish that you were wiser. And it was this man that told Jerome this thing. He said, if you work harder on your job, you make a living. But if you work harder on yourself, you make a fortune. Let me say that again. When you work harder on your job, all you will make is a living. They pay you salary. But if you work harder on yourself, you make a fortune. In other words, Shoff was telling Jim Rohn, go into personal development. Start investing in yourself. Because success is not what you pursue. Success is what you attract by who you are becoming. Don't pursue success. Don't pursue success. You attract it. Because there are two levels of value you must become. Because I'm going to dive into something very sharp quickly now. the value you bring and the value you become. Now, the value you bring are the goods and services you are offering in your marketplace. But the value you become is who you have become in the course of life. Are you a leader? Are you an entrepreneur? Are you a pastor? Are you an engineer? That's the value you have become. So there are two values: the value you bring, goods and services you are offering, and the value you have become. So, how do you know that you have a growth fixated mindset? How do you know that you actually want to grow? Number one, you see others as ahead of you. You see others as ahead of you. Intentionally find people who are faster, smarter, better, and bigger than you. See others as ahead of you. That's how you know you have a growth mindset, that you want to grow. You see, if you enter a place, a man said, if you are the smartest person in that room, it's time to move to the next room. You must intentionally find people who are faster, smarter, better, and bigger than you. That's how you know you are growth mindset fixated. Number two, how do you know you have a growth fixated mindset? You are uncomfortable with your comfort zone. How do you know you have a growth mindset? You have become uncomfortable with your comfort zone. There is no growth in your comfort zone and no comfort in your growth zone. There is no growth in your comfort zone and there is no comfort in your growth zone. You see, great men who are doing things well, people don't grow when they are comfortable. People grow when they are under pressure. Nobody ever grows when you are comfortable. Growth only happens when you are under pressure. A man said, there is nothing that brings creativity like empty pocket. You know why you are still comfortable? You can still call somebody, they send you some money, but when you call, nobody is taking the call. You enter somewhere, start thinking how you can make money. Nothing brings money, nothing brings creativity like empty pocket. You call this guy, he's not picking up. You call this person, they say, well, I don't have. You call this person, then you tell yourself, I don't have any other person to call. I need to call myself. So, when you become uncomfortable with your comfort zone, you show that you have a growth mindset. I don't want to remain who I am. After I ministered on Sunday in the headquarters by the privilege of my father, some people send me SMS and the rest of them. He made me to enter another fast. Because great men don't clap for something twice. Only mediocres do. You perform something at the same level, they will clap for you. Awesome. A great man will only comment on something once. The next time they want to see at the next level. And I was reading Robin Sharma's book on the everyday hero. He was talking about the 7 threats to world class. The 7 threats to world class. One of the ones he talked about is success-fed hubris. You just got something, people just cruise. You know, we have done it before. Right now, you see, and he talked about a program they were doing on TV was attracting so many people who were watching. And after a while, he said all the artists started dropping their quality. And they use it in basketball. They call it in Hollywood. They call it jump the shark. You know, don't get comfortable with success. Jump the shark. The third way to know that you have a growth mindset: you are fixated in forward thinking. You are what? Fixated in forward thinking. Anytime they meet you, you're talking about the next thing that will happen. So many years ago, when late Archbishop Idahosa was alive, they asked him, "Sir, what is the greatest miracle you have ever performed?" You know what his response? The next one. This guy was forward thinking, fixated. They asked him, "What is the greatest miracle you have ever done?" He said, "The next one." Late Archbishop Idahosa. Why? He is forward thinking, fixated. It was Tony Robbins that said, "Where focus goes, energy flows." Wherever focus goes, energy flows. Wherever focus goes, energy flows. Look at how Apple started. Apple started with iMac. From iMac, they went to iPad. From iPad, they went to iPod. From iPod, they went to iPhone. From iPhone, now they're doing iPadOS. Why? Forward thinking, fixated. From iMac to iPod, to iPad, to iPhone, now to iPadOS. Why? Forward thinking fixated. How do you know you're in a growth mindset? You have a growth mindset. You radically seek an affirming growth atmosphere. You seek a growth affirming atmosphere. All trees don't grow in every environment. You stay in an environment, every habitat. Every plant grows in its natural habitat. How you know you have a growth mindset is that you stay in an atmosphere where growth is encouraged. And number 5, how do you know you have a growth mindset? You've been brainwashed with enthusiasm. You have been brainwashed with enthusiasm. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, nothing was ever achieved without enthusiasm. Nothing great was ever achieved without enthusiasm. That's how you know you have been brainwashed with what? Enthusiasm. And then the last point, how you know you have a growth mindset. You use failure as fuel for growth. You use failure as fuel for growth. You use failure as fuel for growth. It was Thomas Edison that said, after he tried 9,999 times to invent the incandescent bulb, and he granted an interview, they say, you have failed 9,999 ways, 9 times. He said, no, I've only discovered 9,999 ways in which an electric bulb cannot be made. He said, I did not fail. I did not fail. In fact, Brian Tracy said that failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is success in process. So failure is actually the raw material for success. John Maxwell said, there is no success I'm enjoying today I did not fail at. So people who are who have growth mindset, they see failure as their fuel to go for more. One time they asked the basketball legend, what is his name? What is that his name again? What's that his name? Basketball legend Michael Jordan. He said, I have failed over and over and over again. That's why I succeeded. So you just had one failure and you have given up. My pastor said, whatever you do with all your might, you become mighty in it. The one who fails and gets up is stronger than the one who never did. Let me say that again. The one who fails and gets up is stronger than the one who never tried. One who fears failure limits his activities. So how do you grow? We'll end up this. How do you grow? How do you grow? How do you go? I'll summarize it with this quote that Warren Buffett said, a renowned financier. He said, the most important investment you can make is in yourself. So how do you go? Number 1, ferocious learning and reading constantly. Ferocious learning and reading constantly. Ferocious learning and reading constantly. Now, what I mean reading and learning is that every day be a 60-minute student. The minimum I read every day is 60 minutes. Minimum. In that my field, 60 minutes. And number 2, listen to audio program every month. And number 3, attend a seminar every quarter. I'm talking about ferocious learning and what? Reading constantly. It is not what you do once in a while that changes your life. It is what you do on a daily basis. So I just give you 3 habits of successful people, how they learn and how they read. 1, they read minimum of 60 minutes in their craft, or 45 minutes, and they use 15 minutes to deconstruct what they have read. But 60 minutes. Number 2, they subscribe to an audio program either in their car, when they are traveling, or they are going to work. They don't spend it listening to something on radio that doesn't make sense. They are listening to an audio program. You know, there is this radio station in my country. People listen to it, I just laugh. What are you listening to that thing for? Imagine somebody now is a comedian. You post something on Facebook, I go to like it. Am I a comedian? There are people when they post something, that is my niche, I'll go and like it. So what audio program are you They said that after the invention of internet and the rest of them, the best university is called University on Wheels. In other words, if you check the number of hours you spend every month from your house to the office, you find out that even if it's not your own car, while others are busy chatting in their car, how the government is bad, how this is not working, There is something in your ear you are listening to. If you do that in the end of 1 month, you find out that you have invested more than 8 hours on committing, when you are committing from where you live to your office. So audio program. And then number 3, attend a seminar every quarter. Not where you are teaching, where you sit down to take notes. Don't forget how Alvin Toffler puts it. He said the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read or write, but the illiterate of the 21st century will be those who cannot read, who cannot learn, unlearn and relearn. Learning means acquiring new knowledge. Unlearning means what you were told and it's not working. Unlearn it. Then relearn is strengthening what is working. Alvin Toffler. Number, it was T.L. Osborne that said, when you stop learning, you start dying. T.L. Osborne. When you stop learning, you start dying. Number 2, how do you grow? How do you grow? 0 interruption and bulletproof focus. Have what? 0 interruptions and bulletproof focus. 0 interruption. Do you know that the greatest distraction we have is a handset? The greatest distraction. In fact, before this year started, my lead pastor said that God told him the greatest demon of this year will be distraction. We have seen in our country distraction of protest, distraction of rise of goods and services skyrocketing, distraction of fuel, and all of that. He said that's what God told him in 2023. He said the greatest demon of 2024 will be distraction. So many people are so distracted. Some people cannot even concentrate, even in church. Some people can't listen for 10 minutes. They are distracted. They're checking their phone. Either they're checking news feed or they're chatting somebody. This picture I posted, why didn't you like it? Why didn't you like my picture? They are distracted. They post a picture and someone say, baby, you are hot. They say, thanks. How does that put food on your table? You are a slave queen. How are you becoming a slave queen, killing people? And it's a good thing now. You are commended that you are slaying people. Not even demons. You are a slave queen. 0 interruptions and bulletproof. John Maxwell said he doesn't meet with anybody until 12 noon every day because he is the person of morning hours. I wake up 4:30 every day. I've done it for 18 years. 0 bulletproof, 0 interruptions and bulletproof focus. How you become so obsessed and addicted to your handset? Just check when you don't have airtime or data. Your whole body is in trouble. It shows that you are addicted to your phone. Addiction is not about other drugs. Your phone is an addiction. I put up my phone on Mondays, put it on airplane mode until about 4 p.m. because it's the time I spend in solitude, in silence and in stillness. 0 interruption. It is depth that determines height. Depth that determines height. Confucius said, a man who chases 2 rabbits catches neither. 0 interruption, bulletproof focus. A man who chases 2 rabbits catches neither. How do you grow? Number 3, studying the best and the titans. Study the best in your industry. Who are the best in your industry? Who are the best in your industry? Who are the best in what you do? So many years ago, a man said he had to identify top 10 successful people in his industry. I had to ask them that if they can give him just 10 minutes of their time. 30 minutes. And some of them said, no, 30 minutes was too much. And then he had only $100 to give them. He said, not all of them accepted because they are busy. Why did he do that? He said he just went to ask them questions. As they were answering, he was writing down. Study the best in your field. Who are the best? If you are into ministry, who are the best in the field? If you are into media, who are the best? If you are arts and entertainment, who are the best? If you are in politics, who are the best? If you are in business, who are the best? Top 10 best, and fix a meeting with them just to meet them and ask them questions. It was Jim Rohn that said that the poor ought to take the rich out for lunch and pay for the lunch and ask them questions. But you know, when the poor takes the rich out for lunch, the poor will say they don't have money, so the rich will end up paying. So you don't have value for what he's going to share. Study the best. And number 4, my time is running. Put in relentless effort and be eccentric. Put in relentless effort and become eccentric. That means be different. Put in relentless effort and be what? Eccentric. No world changer runs a normal schedule. No world changer runs a normal schedule. No world changer runs a normal schedule. Do you know they said an average CEO works 40 hours in a week? At the formative stage of Elon Musk's business, he was working for 80 hours in a week. So what does that mean? That what others will achieve in 2 years, will achieve in 1 year. So no wonder now today, see, wealth get wild. When he bought a percentage of X, that's Twitter, the government of Pakistan said that he should come and buy the country because what he bought Twitter was richer than Pakistan. Why? This guy decided to put in relentless effort. Bishop Oyedepo worked for 18 hours. Pastor George worked for minimum of 18 hours. And you are there. You just work for a few hours, you're already tired. One of my mentees asked me a question when I was doing a mentorship session. He said, down that she goes to work by 9, closes by 5. When does she have that? Then when she comes back, she's already tired. I told her, listen, you hate your soul so much that you put in 9 to 5 for someone. And you cannot put in at least 8 to 12 midnight for yourself. You hate yourself so much. Because a man said, salary is the drugs they give to you to forget about your dream. Salary is the drug they give to you so they can forget about your dream. I told you of a young man who was in the office and his boss drove him with a Lamborghini. And he said to his boss, congratulations. You know what the boss said? Thank you. He said, if you work more, I'll buy another one next year. Salary is the drugs they give to you to forget about your dream. I'm almost done. The last one. If you want to grow, get lost. Don't be so available to everyone. Get lost.
Hello everyone. According to the lead pastor of Gateway International Church, my own father, Pastor George, said, when a man grows his leadership capacity, the high places of life will make room for him. And to back up that thing he said, Jack Welch, who was one time chairman of CEO of General Electric, he said, before you are a leader, success was all about growing yourself. But when you become a leader, success is about growing others. I'd like you to know that every Tuesday here on Life Center Network, we handle what we call Leader Upgrade from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. And I'm your anchor man. If you miss it for anything, your leadership ratings will be in doubt. I'd like you to know, the more you watch this, apply the things you like, your leadership rating will go high. Don't forget that it happens on Life Center Network, 2 p.m. every Tuesday, on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. Listen, don't touch that dial. Keep watching Life Center Network TV.
Follow us on YouTube, Facebook at Life Center Network TV. Keep watching Life Center Network TV, your gateway to possibility. Thanks for watching.
Hello everyone. According to the lead pastor of Gateway International Church, my own father, Pastor George, said, when a man grows his leadership capacity, the high places of life will make room for him. And to back up that thing he said, Jack Welch, who was one time chairman of CEO of General Electric, he said, before you are a leader, success was all about growing yourself. But when you become a leader, success is about growing others. I'd like you to know that every Tuesday here on Life Center Network, we handle what we call Leader Upgrade from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. And I'm your